Welcome to our workshop on how to develop a social agriculture project. I'm Jimena, I'm from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm healthy movement organizer. I'm very happy to have you join, and I hope you enjoy that we prepare with Tommy from Cultivarte. We did this with a lot of love. We will show you a presentation, and at the end we will have a space for questions. And then we finish. I will send you an email with the presentation, with a big virtual library and the video. Okay, I will pass to Tommy so we can get started.
Thanks, Jaime, and hi, everybody. You can't imagine what a pleasure it's for me to share this information with you, because the last year we were lucky to share with Jaime and with all Health Safe organization some projects linked to the social agricultural project. So this is an amazing opportunity for us to share the knowledge that these developments gave us. So before starting, we ask you to keep your mics off, and you can turn on the cameras so I can see you if you are paying attention to me. And then the questions are allowed through the chat. Ceci and Max from our team will be able to answer you. But at the end of the workshop, we are going to have some time for the questions that left. So I want to start introducing me. I'm Tomás Luzardi. Actually, I'm the executive director of Proyecto Cultivarte, and I study in Facultad of Agronomic University in University of Buenos Aires. And we've been doing this kind of works for the last 7 years. Cultivarte have 7 years of history. And to introduce you of what is Cultivarte, I prefer to share why we have to create Cultivarte. 7 years ago, we realized that a lot of people want an urban food production or a composting system for their houses, but at some point of the history, the motivation gets stuck by the lack of knowledge and tools. So at that moment, we designed our organization just to guide agroecological projects, give some advice to the food productions, and design composting systems from the very beginning to the implementation and maintenance once installed. So another particularity of our project is that we manufacture products that are 100% made with upcycling materials. We work with recycled wood from pallets, and also with one-use plastics that we transform into plastic wood, an amazing material, but not today's workshop about plastic wood. So we are moving on. But first, one more thing that is amazing from our project is that all our products are made by prisoners of the Argentinian Penitentiary Service. This is something really important for us, because the prisoners have programs of learning some works, and also to increase his working skills. So in our history, we start with little balcony solutions for those families who wants to live the experience of growing their own food or composting their organic matter. But day by day, we start designing bigger and bigger projects. Just to help you imagine what we do, I want to share these two projects. On the left, you can see the first organic certificated food production made by prisoners of the Cárcel Ezeiza. And on the right, you can see a composting system at the police school called Escuela Juan Pablo Bucetich. This is an amazing picture for us to show with you, because we work with the prisoners and we also work with the police. So the integration of these concepts are deep, really, really deep. So just to imagine, the organic food production is the first organic certificated production that it's inside the jail. And the composting system transformed the organic matter of 1,500 people per day into one of the best agricultural supplies that we can have, and it's the compost, nothing more. But to tell the truth, we're here today because a year ago, we were lucky to share with Health Save and with Jime this beautiful project in Los Panchitos Community Kitchen. This kitchen that you see in the screen, it's also Claudia's house. After we are going to tell you more about Claudia, who is she and her passion. But for now, we want to know that this community kitchen has been serving dishes for the kids of the neighborhood for the last 5 or 6 years. And Los Panchitos, this community kitchen, was receiving typical donations such as rice and pasta. And this kind of food is really easy to transport and to stock. But have you ever think what happened with fresh vegetables? The fresh food, we know that it's key in any diet, but it gets sold really fast and it's difficult to transport. So one more thing about it. The vegetables are the only food that you can grow in your own garden. That's what about this workshop. You are going to see that we are going to rely on this experience to share with you which are the main stages of an agricultural project and where to focus in order to achieve our goals successfully. The aims of this workshop today is to understand each of the stages, the actors, the components of an agricultural social project, so that we can design a project that brings real solutions to people's needs. And this is something important. For us, it's important that you understand that this same methodology and these steps will be useful for a very little project as a vegetable garden in a school to a huge food production. We try to say that this way of thinking, it's scalable and we only need to follow the steps, no matter the size of the project. So you are going to be able to use this information in any kind of project that you want to develop. But first, to begin with, it's important to define what is social agriculture. We're not just talking about a vegetable garden or a composting system. According to the Observatory of Food Sovereignty and Agroecology, social agriculture refers to those experiences that use local, agrarian, and natural resources to promote health, empowerment, employment, and social assistance through the agricultural practice and derived activities. So, in other words, when we talk about social agriculture, it's important to take into account not only the food production and the economic sustainability of the project, but also the social bonds that will lead the project and the environmental care. Here, the challenge is to coordinate actors, space, and local resources towards the same goal. This idea, we need to have this idea in our minds for all the duration of the workshop. And now, as a first step, we need to identify needs. We are going to work with a population that has a lot of needs. So the idea to identify needs, that the real needs of the population, it's something that it's going to give us a clear path to follow. So the first, when we talk about the territorial development, we are not just talking about a particular land area. We are talking about the geophysical characteristics, the individual and collective initiatives, and also how these initiatives are linked with the environmental care. So something that you must remember is that the only way to empathize with people's needs is to enjoy time there. So when we start any kind of agricultural project, we bring you 2 tips that definitely will help you. First, we are going to start just as watchers with a little participation. So we can take part into the social dynamics. And in this way, we're going to start empathizing with the real needs of the group. I need to slow down for a minute and make the exercise to travel and think. When you're lucky enough to have all your basic needs guaranteed, facing distant realities where those needs are not guaranteed may confuse us and make us feel that everything is urgent. The important here is to work detecting which are the important and structural needs in the way to bring real solutions. Do not get carried away by the feeling that everything is urgent. And as a resume, when we think in a social agricultural project, we want to create structural solutions. See, this is something that we must remember. Just to give you an example, in those cases when we notice that they need food, we want to bring food every day in every way. Instead of bringing food, maybe we can help them growing their own or establishing regular and systematic food donations. And that will be structural solutions. That was what we are talking about when we refer to structural solutions. Then we are getting involved with the first stage of the project design. We will see that the project design is one of the key parts, but this is like the previous stage to the project design. We need to define the vital resources that are going to need and order them by priority. If we understand what we need, it's so much easier to find a way to get it. So here's some of the key resources that we need to consider. First of all, the work team. The work team is when we talk about a work team, we refer to the people taking part into the project. Those persons that are really getting involved and putting the best thing of them to the development of the project. Number two, the required land. This is going to be estimated by our estimated or according to our production goals. Number three, the agricultural supplies. We are along the project, we are going to need a lot of agricultural supplies, and it's a good idea to know which one we are going to need from the beginning. Number four, machine and tools. Must remember that could be owned or rented. It's the same, and that depends on if we are going to give a frequently use or a one-time use. That may define the situation. And number five, we are talking about skilled workers. Some projects may need an architect or an engineer, and some projects may not need. So this is something that we must think about it. Now we define our basic resource. We are at the crucial point of the project planning. We are going to set goals, and a good goal setting will determine the success of the project. Think in a project that didn't set his goals correctly. It's been working for something that really didn't help. So a good goal setting, it's the key part to the success of the project. When we set the goals, we are ready to elaborate on a specific action plan. And to set goals, we want to bring this methodology that is the SMART goals. The SMART goal is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-limited goals. Each goal that we define must have these 5 characteristics. And just to understand deeply, here's an example. By the end of the year, 50% of the vegetables consumed at school must be grown at the institution with the students' care. So here you can check When it says by the end of the year, it's the time limited part. When it says 50% of the vegetables is the measurable part. And then continues, is a consume at school must be grown at the institution and with the students' care. That's the specific part. And if we check the whole goal, we must realize that it's also relevant, it's really relevant that a college can develop this kind of project. And also it's achievable if the work team do it right, they are going to achieve successfully their goals. So an extra tip to this part is that you can post it somewhere visible for everyone. Maybe an office board and a spreadsheet header or wherever everybody will come across it. That's important to have our goals in mind frequently. And now it's time to design the project. We need to empathize with the people's needs, consider the human and economic resources that we will need. And just to imagine, something particular is the fact that nobody takes care of something that didn't help to create. So the key part here is to design the project hand in hand with the people involved. And to make it easier, here's a list of questions that will guide our plan and give us a clear picture of the path to follow. The first one, it's important to know that the questions are one by one. We need to start with the first one and then move on to the second one. The first one is, what's our food production goal and what do they eat in what amounts? With this answer, we will be able to set our food production plan and the list of vegetables that we will grow. And with these answers, we are ready to continue with the second one. How much land is required to grow that food that we already defined? Now we have how much land we will need. We move on to the third one. Does the land fulfill all the requirements? Okay, some important aspects that we are going to check here is if they have safe water access and a good water quality. A lot of populations don't have safe water access. So this is something really, really important. Safe water access and good water quality, enough solar radiation to the food production, and also a comfortable and close access to the people involved. Just imagine how is to go to the project after a rainy week if the streets are full of load. So have a comfortable and close access is crucial because we are going to need a daily care of the land and of the project. So comfortable and close access is important too. Number 4, what material resources we will need. We mentioned before, but at this point, we should make a list of the necessary agricultural supplies and tools from the most important to the less one. Number 5, how many people involved and who are they? This answer will determine the teamwork structure, something crucial to the development of the project. And last but not least, what are the stages of the project and the estimated length for each stage? With all this information together, we are ready to develop the project and move on to the spreadsheet in an action plan. Let's see about it. But first, remember that everything takes much more time than you have expected. So this time must be contemplated in the planning of the project. Although it seems obvious, leaving some time for the unforeseen will allow to enjoy us the project and not feel that we are always behind. This is important just for us to enjoy what we are doing. It's some of the key parts of all the project. Everything takes much more time than you expected. And now we know this, we can move on to the action plan. An action plan could be an Excel document, a timeline, or even a sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. The important thing here is that an action plan must help us to review the project progress, understand who's in charge for each task and which is the deadline, and a better understanding of the dependence and the link between the areas. When we talk about areas in a project, I mean the work team, the operation team, the purchases team, the communication team. There's a lot of teams that must work together. Just for you to imagine, here is a powerful tool that we use to design projects. It's a popular tool it's called a Gantt diagram, and it's a popular tool to create an action plan. In the internet, there's a lot of templates with a free download option, and also there's good platforms that offer to work online with all the team. So this is really a powerful tool. And once we have the action plan on the spreadsheet, this will serve as the guide for the whole team, and weekly we will be able to check if we are progressing as planned. This is like the first goal that we need to achieve. Download all the action plan and the information of the project in a Gantt or any sheet that you use to follow up the project progress. And remember that to design it, because now we reach the point where the project is absolutely ready to be implemented. However, if we simply reduce the project to the implementation, and then at that moment, there's a very good chance that after a few months, the project will not have developed the capacity to sustain itself. We need to understand that to design a sustainable project, the most important stage is the one that happens when it has been implemented. I think that a large part of the financing that we have should be invested in a close follow-up to the project, enabling the incorporation of new tasks as a daily habit for the population. From our experience in Cultivarte, we conclude that having a support program is the only way to have guaranteed that the project will work properly. And I want that you live with the idea that the follow-up is the key stage of any project. We must develop the project with our best from the beginning, but this stage is the one that defines how this project is going to sustain itself. So please focus on this stage that it's follow-up. And moving on, we want to share a piece of advice that we learned from one of our mentors, and it's that every project needs a leader. Detecting who represents the alma mater or the heart of the project will be essential to work in a human and direct bond with the person with the greatest influence for the development of the project, and also with the person that have the enough power to overcome the challenge that may arise. So the key point is the following: whoever we designate as a project leader must have a sincere commitment and desire for the project to be successful. The projects that didn't have a good defined leader frequently go wrong. So take this advice about the project leader like also another important thing to consider when we are designing our project. Who's that person? Who's the person that have that sincere commitment and desire to the project to be successful? And that person must help us to develop this dream. To close, I want to focus on the importance of inviting more actors to participate in the project. And I have here a short story for you. It's obvious that this story starts with Claudia. Claudia lives in Florencio Varela in a very, very rough context. Her house was developing a community kitchen in her own house. So she was so convinced that she wanted to help her neighbors that she built up a community kitchen at her own house. And she cooked for the kids of the neighborhood for the last years. So when Health Save heard of Claudia, they decided to help her no matter what. For the first years, Health Save collected food donations and took them to Claudia's house in Florencio Varela. Food donations obviously helped Claudia and the community, but they still had a problem with the fresh vegetable supply. So at that moment, Health Save invited Cultivarte to design an agricultural project that could offer structural solution for the fresh vegetable supply. Immediately, when we were designing the project, we realized that Claudia didn't have enough land to fulfill all the production goals. So a few minutes later, Claudia brought us the solution. She convinced Sebastián, a neighbor of Los Panchitos, to develop the food production plan in his back garden, in his house back garden. So at this point, we had already spent all the budget that we had, and we still needed a composting system to feed the soil. So him talked to Climate Safe, also an organization that is really committed with environmental care, to support us with the donation of a composting system. And also, I don't want to miss the participation of all the neighbors that came and helped us to make this project possible. So notice that when we invite more people to participate, they magnify our impact. They allow us to get better resources and help us to achieve our goals. We really like to develop projects that include more people and more actors to participate, because the scale of the project grows immediately. And just to close this workshop, I have some final conclusions. I would like to briefly review the stages of an agricultural project. The first one, identifying needs. Here you must remember that we are looking for structural solutions to the population, to the people's needs. Number two, define the necessary resources. Here, consider the option to make some alliances or involve more actors to the project. Number three, set the project goals. Here is the first design part, and is a crucial point of any project, because the goals will lead to the path to follow. Then the project design. When we are at this stage, we must be creative. Our minds have a lot of solutions, and is in the project design stage where we need to to start the game and develop the project that we want to see in the real life. Number five, the action plan. Here you have that powerful tool called Gantt diagram. Please check in on the internet. There's a lot of templates. In the checkout mail, we are going to send you some examples of the Gantt diagram possibilities. And just last but not least, how I'd say, the monitoring and follow-up. There doesn't exist projects that don't consider this final stage. It's the key part to the sustainability of the project. We must consider this final step. So, as a last message, I think it's important that we leave with an encouraging idea. From our experience, these are the two most important lessons that we've learned. And the first one is that it's not possible to carry out a great project without a great work team. Projects are made by people, and there's plenty of people willing to help. And the second one is that we need to dare to dream on building better social realities, like wishing that hungry people have a garden full of food is the only way to make it possible. So this phrase of San Francisco Assis illustrates really good the idea of how this kind of projects transform our reality. While I look for the video, the campaign video, Jime, if you have, okay.
Let's watch a video from Los Panchitos on Jose. Maybe you already watched, but we would like to see again. Because
do you have it in your computer, Jime?
Yeah.
Okay. And then after the video, we are going to share some minutes to the questions that you have.
Hola, buenas tardes, mi nombre es Clau, ¿cómo están todos? Espero que súper bien. Bueno, estamos acá en Florencio Varela, Ingeniero Alan, el barrio La Carolina. Tenemos un comedor comunitario infantil desde el amor, desde el corazón, con muchos donantes, dadores de corazón, seres de luz. Así que esto, bueno, funciona a medida de que también todos ponemos nuestro granito de arena.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Soy Jimena de Endorse, Argentina. Estamos acá en Panchitos instalando nuestra primera huerta de un proyecto que tenemos de llevar huertas a espacios comunitarios. Una forma de que las personas que asisten puedan tener una alimentación balanceada y accesible, para que van a tener toda la instalación acá en el comedor.
Hola, somos Stephanie
y Martín
de Climate Save Argentina y estamos muy contentos porque con esta experiencia podemos mostrar cómo es posible que nos alimentemos en forma agroecológica y sana y replicarlo también en más barrios.
La realidad es que en un país y en una sociedad que tiene un alto índice de pobreza, este fue un gran primer paso para asegurarnos tanto de que sepamos qué comemos como asegurarnos de que cada persona pueda comer.
Buenas, mi nombre es Agustina y soy voluntaria de Endorse Argentina. Nos empezamos a dar cuenta que con las semanas no siempre el comedor podía estar en funcionamiento porque no siempre se tenían los recursos para cocinar todos los platos de comida que se hacen acá. Entonces acá estamos con la huerta ya puesta en marcha y esperamos que se pueda replicar en todos los lugares que sea necesario y que siga funcionando de esta manera.
Que vengan los chicos y que encuentren un lugar donde inspirarse y donde vean de dónde viene el alimento y cómo se puede nutrir es maravilloso.
Thanks, Jime.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time to turn on the cameras if you want to ask some questions that you have. Thanks for the words in the chat. For us, it was an amazing opportunity also to share this information with you. And we've been working the last months in this. So it's really an amazing opportunity for us to share these practical tips for the people that are trying to develop this kind of project. So a sincere thanks for the attention that you bring us today. If you want to talk, just open the mic.
Anita?
Thank you. That was so inspiring. It was so organized. You've given me lots of ideas because I started a community garden just sort of by myself, and I haven't this summer, but without a big team yet. So for next year, we have a gardening coordinator, and she wants to make a bigger plan. So this is really useful, like the way you have a plan. I was wondering if you're going to put this in a guidebook. You know how we have the plant-based treaty vegan starter kit? This would be such an amazing guide to be downloadable to share with people, because I personally would find it really practical. Like the way you designed the presentation, like I found it so useful. So that's one question. And the second question was, I really like how you have the goals. Like I didn't really think about it that way, the way you said, you know, if schools provided, if the students grew 50% of the food they ate, like I never even thought about something like that. It opens so many possibilities. And I was wondering if you can give us some other examples to inspire us.
Yes, I will try to open our heads, because if you think like growing corn in a school, the corn needs so much land to be grown. So when we set our goal, we must consider that this goal must be achievable. If you want to grow something that we cannot grow in our institution, the goal is have a wrong set. So it's important to realize which of the characteristic of our goal are really achievable. Because if we set our one goal that is difficult to achieve, we are going to feel frustrated, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So it's important to set goals based on what we really trust we can develop. When we talk about kind of food, the fresh vegetables are always the easier to grow and the most difficult to stock and transport. So in any kind of project that includes the food production, I will recommend you to start with the fresh vegetables growing, all the leaves, all the green leaves, lettuce, and more. And that's the easy part, the easiest part. And for the students also it's a good start, a good way to start. And the first question, I think that he may.
Yes, I'm working on that. I'm finding the way to, the guy is, we will develop more globally, not only local, with local information. Today we share a very big library, and I'm working on with this to be more useful for everyone. Yes, but I'm working on that.
There's another question here. I hope that the workshop was that clear, so there's no questions around. But if in the next hours, if you have some idea and you want to tell us, you can write for us in every platform that we have on, and also by Jime, and she's going to give us the question. Which vegetables are the best to grow? Beans, kale, tomatoes, zucchini, spinach. The best vegetables you can grow are the ones that they are consumed. That's the key point. We must grow that vegetables that we consume, because that's the way to stay motivated with the project. If I love tomatoes and when I go to the food production, I look my tomatoes, how bigger they are. That's the way to stay motivated. So first we need to check which are those vegetables that we consume. And then we are going to develop the food production plan. How do you manage in the winter months? The idea of the food production, that the food production is only in summer, and it's fake. As we eat all days in all months of the year, the food production grows all days and all months in the year. The only difference is that the vegetables change. In winter we have, I didn't prepare the translation of the vegetables in our language, but
I'm here. I can help you.
The beans, for example, are frequently a winter season vegetable. Tomato, zucchini are from the summer season, and spinach is the typical leaf of the winter season. We only can grow spinach in the winter season. But if you like, we can share with you a translated list of vegetables that you can grow in each season.
Yeah, we start in Los Panchitos in winter, on winter. We start on 1st of July. Yeah, we was planting kale, spinach, yeah, a lot of
lettuce, a lot of lettuce.
Yeah.
You plant it in the winter and then it's ready like in the spring, or you plant it like how long does it? What's the cycle like?
When we grow leaves, all the leaves, vegetables, we plant this week, and 3 weeks later we starting the harvesting. So it's really short time for the vegetables that we grow for the leaves. And in a different way, when we talk about when we talk about some vegetables like the tomatoes, there are long cycles of growth. So we can design our food production to have harvest all the weeks to continue the dish elaboration.
Something important to mention, Tom, that you said it before during the presentation, but maybe it was not clear, or it's not common or clear for everyone, because we are not all ingenieros agrónomos. So I have a greenhouse in my a green garden in the balcony of my house with my family, and I'm a teacher, and I'm trying and tomatoes die. So sometimes we don't know which are the season plants that we need. We plant tomatoes in winter, or we plant, I don't know, carrots, whatever. So Tommy said before that I'm trying to round the idea of the season plantations that Tom said before. You cannot miss a day for your garden. Yes, it's a day-by-day work, and you must work all seasons. You must work in summer, in autumn, in winter, in spring. You can grow your vegetables all the year, throughout the year, and you will have vegetables for each season, and you can grow them, and they will grow, and they will give you food. So the idea here is to dedicate a lot of time, and it's not that in winter you cannot grow anything. Yes, you will grow vegetables, other vegetables. As we don't have strawberries in winter in Argentina, we have tangerines, we have apples, we have bananas. We wish to have strawberries all through the year, but that's not possible in winter, at least here. So each season will give you different plants, but every day you can grow your vegetables, different ones, different type of vegetables for each season. That's the work of an ingeniero agrónomo. There's a list of vegetables for each season to plant, but it's not that in winter there are no harvest.
And one more thing, Ceci, that Jennifer was, sorry, Jacinta was question about to grow fruit-bearing trees. The fruit trees are something really special to grow. It's one of my favorite parts. And the difference here is that a tree lives for a lot of years, and that's something that we must consider in order to have a really good and plant design, because we are going to put there the trees and then we cannot move those trees. So it's important to have a good design from the beginning, and then give the trees the care, the weekly care that they need, because there are trees, but there are trees that need a lot of cares, in difference from a tree in the street.
Hi, can I ask one?
Yes. She's my
Hi,
sister,
Tom.
just to...
Yes, the older and proud one. Hi to everyone here. Tommy, I just wanted to know, because I know that you've been through the job you're doing in different prisoners program, and you talked about schools, and in all of those things and spaces, you always make focus on the avoiding the frustration feeling in a way. So my question is, working as a group and maybe even as a leader of a project, how do you deal with that regarding the rest of the team when frustration actually appears, which is something that we can try to prevent and avoid, but it might appear somehow, sometime at some point of the project?
Yeah, the frustration is part of this story. We must live with it, because that frustrations on the path make us stronger, and give us the knowledge that we need to move on with our project. So that's the important part, to have a team, a great work team, support us when we feel frustrated, and then we must give to the team the empowerment to develop their own dreams. But I think that the idea of this workshop is to join a really good time and get inspired by each other's. I was reading Anita that wants to presentate to the Kingston Penitentiary a model like this. We have a lot of different models of working in the jails, and it's going to be a pleasure to share with you some ideas to share with other penitentiaries. What do you think of vertical gardens as a way to increase production ratio per square meter? I don't like the vertical gardens, because they really need a lot of agricultural supplies that the soil didn't provide. When we grow the vegetables in the soil, all we need is on earth. And in this kind of project, there's frequently use of chemical supplies. That's the part that I don't like much, but it's another idea, and I prefer to see plants that are wall painted with with white paint. So I don't have nothing nothing bad with this idea, but I don't prefer vertical gardens. I prefer the real gardens that grow food for the people. And also these vertical gardens have really low productions. I didn't see any vertical garden of food production. There are always like pretty ones. Okay, just to close, I want to thank you and thank everybody about this time. It was really a really great opportunity for us, and for anything that you need, we are just available to help you. Hope to have a nice rest of the day, and really thanks. The more questions: how much vegetable can you grow indoors? That's another chapter of the story. The indoor growing, it's something that depends from the electrical conditions, so it's less natural than a typical food production. I prefer for today to not enter in this chapter because it's all another story. At least herbs, like the smelly ones, Anita, are you talking about? Okay, yes, but the herbs, I recommend you to looking for the regional herbs, the ones that are local, and in that way you are going to have a really good herb production with a good designing decision. If you design your herbs selection thinking in which of them are regional and local, you are going to have really good results. Okay, Jime, we are now ready to close.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tommy, for doing this team. Now I send you an email with the presentation, the video, and other videos, and the library. And if you have any question, please send me a message with Tommy. We will help us. Okay.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.